My teacher accused me of cheating in front of the entire class, so I let him keep talking until he realized exactly who he was dealing with. It happened during second period, right after he handed back our calculus exam. Mr. Halpern stood at the front of the room with this tight look on his face, like he'd already decided something before even opening his mouth. He held up my test between two fingers like it was contaminated. "Before I return this one," he said, glancing around the room, "I want to address something." Every head turned. My name was written across the top in red ink. "A perfect score," he continued, his tone flat, "which would be impressive if it was real." A few people laughed under their breath. I felt my chest tighten, but I didn't say anything. "You've been a C student all semester," he said, looking straight at me now. "And suddenly you get every single question right on the hardest test of the year?" More laughter, louder this time. My friend Jason shifted in his seat next to me but didn't say anything. No one did. "So I'm going to ask you directly," Mr. Halpern said as he walked toward my desk. "Did you cheat?" The room went completely quiet. I could feel 30 pairs of eyes on me, waiting. "No." He nodded slowly, like he expected that answer. "Then you won't mind if we take a closer look, because right now, this looks exactly like someone who had access to the answer key." That's when I understood. This wasn't a question. He'd already decided, and he wanted everyone else to believe it too. I'd had Mr. Halpern all year, and from the first week, I knew exactly what he thought of me. It wasn't anything he said outright. It was the way he'd pause when calling my name, like he expected me to get things wrong before I even opened my mouth. The way he'd double-check my work more than anyone else's. The way he'd move on faster when I raised my hand, like he didn't want to risk wasting time. I started the year struggling. That part was true. I transferred schools mid-semester, missed half the prerequisites, and spent the first month trying to catch up. My first two tests were bad. Not just bad, embarrassing. I saw the looks people gave me when scores were passed back. I heard the comments. "He's in the wrong class. How did he even get in here?" Mr. Halpern never said those things, but he didn't correct them either. So I stopped talking, stopped asking questions in class. If I didn't understand something, I figured it out later, after school, at night, alone. I started going to the library every day, watched hours of lectures online, reworked every problem from the textbook until I could do them without looking. I kept a notebook full of mistakes, pages and pages of problems I got wrong and forced myself to fix. No shortcuts, no guessing, just repetition until it stuck. By the time the midterm came around, I'd pulled my grade up to a B-. Still not great, but enough to prove I wasn't completely lost. Mr. Halpern wrote improvement at the top of that test with a small check mark, like it surprised him. That was the only comment he ever gave me. So when he announced the final unit exam, the one he called the hardest assessment of the year, I treated it like something bigger, not just another test, a line, something I could cross and finally be done with how everyone saw me. I studied for 3 weeks straight, every day after school, every weekend. I didn't tell anyone, didn't make a big deal out of it, just work. The night before the test, I stayed up until 2 a.m., going over the same set of problems again and again until I could solve them without thinking. When I walked into class the next morning, I wasn't nervous. That was the first time all year I felt completely ready. The test itself felt almost slow, like I'd seen everything before. Every question had a pattern I recognized. I finished early, checked my work twice, then turned it in without saying a word. I didn't celebrate, didn't tell anyone how it felt. I just waited. And apparently, that was my mistake, because when someone like me gets everything right, people don't think hard work, they think something else. "Bring your things," Mr. Halpern said, still holding my test. "We're going to the office." A few people actually turned in their seats to watch me stand up. I could hear whispers now. He definitely cheated. There's no way. I picked up my backpack slowly and walked to the front of the room. Mr. Halpern didn't lower his voice. "I take academic integrity very seriously," he said as we stepped into the hallway. "If you had access to materials you shouldn't have, now is the time to say it." I looked at him. I didn't cheat. He sighed, like I was making things harder than they needed to be, then explained the score. I reached into my bag and pulled out a thick notebook, the one I'd been filling all semester. "This," I said, handing it to him. He frowned and flipped it open. Page after page of problems, dates in the corners, corrections in different ink colors, entire sections labeled with topics from the syllabus, mistakes circled and rewritten until they were right. He slowed down as he turned the pages. "I've been studying," I said, "every day." He didn't respond right away. We were standing right outside the classroom door. Through the glass, I could see everyone still watching. "That doesn't explain a perfect score," he said finally, but there was something different in his voice now, less certain. "Okay," I said, "give me another test." He blinked. "What?" "Right now," I said. "Make it harder if you want. I'll take it in front of you. No notes, no phone, just me." He hesitated. That was the first time I'd seen him hesitate all year. "You're saying you can replicate this performance?" he asked. "I'm saying I can do the work," I said. There was a long pause, then he nodded once. "Fine." We went back into the classroom. The room went silent the second we walked in. Mr. Halpern went straight to his desk and started pulling out papers, flipping through folders, writing something quickly. I stood at the front of the room, everyone staring at me like I was about to fail in real time. After a minute, he handed me a stapled packet. "This is from last year's advanced section," he said. "You won't have seen it." I sat down at the empty desk in the front row. My hands were steady. I read the first question. Same concepts, different numbers, different wording, same structure. I started writing. The room stayed quiet except for the sound of my pencil. I didn't rush, didn't look up, just worked through each problem the way I'd practiced, step by step, line by line. I could feel him watching me, standing somewhere behind me, but I didn't turn around. 20 minutes later, I put my pencil down. "Done," I said. He took the packet without a word and started going through it right there. I watched his face as he checked each answer. The longer it took, the quieter the room got. He flipped the last page, then went back to the first, checking again. When he finally looked up, he didn't say anything right away. He just stood there, holding the papers. "Well?" someone in the back whispered. Mr. Halpern cleared his throat. "Every answer is correct," he said. No one laughed this time. No one whispered. The silence felt heavier now, like it had weight to it. He looked at me, really looked this time, like he was seeing me for the first time all year. "I was wrong," he said, his voice low but clear enough for everyone to hear. "You didn't cheat." I nodded once. That was it. I picked up my bag, walked back to my seat, and sat down without looking at anyone because I didn't need them to see me anymore.